Connecting to your intuition gets to be fun. One of the biggest things that I see people come up against when they are developing their spiritual practice, they're learning about intuition, psychic abilities, spirit guides, is they move into this state of being really afraid of getting something wrong, which of course that makes sense, but they make their spiritual practice almost as though they're putting themselves on the chopping block every single time to prove to themselves that they're either worthy or not worthy, good or not good, supposed to do this or not supposed to do this. And the biggest message that my guides have had to give me, and that I have really had to say to so many of my clients this week, is this gets to be fun. We get to have a good time here. And so I'm going to talk to you about the energy of what does it mean to have fun? What does it mean to move into whimsy and curiosity, and how that's actually going to be what unlocks your spiritual abilities rather than the controlling, I got to be good, I got to go find the right answer that a lot of us naturally move into. If you're new here, hi, my name is Layla Taylor. This is Stop Trying to Be Spiritual. It is the show all about connecting into your spirituality, intuition, psychic abilities, channeling your spirit guides, but doing it in a way of which we merge with our own connection to our body, to our shadow, to our inner child, so that we become the perfect vessel through which spirit, our soul, can truly lead and guide our lives. Non-performative spirituality, ones that is anchored deeply into your own sense of connection, because that's really what's going to help you become the intuitive and healer that maybe you want to be for other people. I work with people every single day. Usually I talk about my services more towards the end, but if you're interested in working with me, there are spirit connector sessions. There's Awaken the Course, which is a 7-week self-paced program, and also my mentorship where we can work together. But the spirituality that I am really trying to help with, that I needed to develop for myself, is one that is grounded in a sense of connection to you. All of your spiritual practices should be, how can I understand myself with greater clarity? And that feels egoic, but the only way in which you can truly love someone else, show up for someone else, help someone else, is to be able to do that for yourself first. And most of us don't know what that means. One thing I want to discuss today is, what does it mean when I say this gets to be fun with our spiritual practice? I'm going to go into a specific situation with a client who is already doing readings, and she feels like every single time she's doing a reading, she gets really anxious, really nervous. And she feels like while she's connecting in to the field of energy, that all of a sudden it just drops. I lost the energy, or spirit pulled away. That's like some of the things that we'll hear people say, is like, oh, your loved one decided to leave, or your spirit guides left, which I'll say it feels comfortable to maybe say that. But what happened is we dropped a connection within ourselves. I can promise you that spirit on the other side and the spirit guides aren't like, oh, 2 o'clock lunchtime, I got to go. You're taking a little bit too long here. I got other things to do. They are unencumbered by the physical experience. There is no physical timeline that they are asserting themselves to. And so what happens very often is we get into this mind state of, I got to go figure out this answer, whether it's just for yourself, or maybe you're already practicing, or you're having paying clients. Is when we move into the state of, what if I'm wrong? I need to go find the answer. I don't really trust what I received. What happens is you move yourself outside of the expansive nature of the heart, out of the flow state, which is where the heart really leads us, and into the I'm going to get it done state, which made you really, really good at your corporate job, at always getting dinner done, as making sure that your house is clean, getting the stuff marked off the list. And a lot of times what we don't understand is we translate our human experience onto our spiritual experience, thinking that if I check off the boxes, then my worthiness and my goodness and my ability to connect should equal out. That is not what actually connects you to your intuition. Being in a state of, and you'll hear me talk about this, expansion, curiosity, whimsy, being heart-centered, being in flow. Those are all basically different words to explain a feeling of being aware and attentive, but surrendered. I want you to think of a time where I always go back to like rollerblading. If you ever rollerbladed when you were younger and it was like exhausting at first because your legs were like, whoa, this is an interesting feeling. I got to really push and understand the movement. But then all of a sudden, like this, like runner's high or this rollerblading high would kick in and you would just be gliding. You would still be doing the movements. You're having fun. It's like you just lost yourself for a little bit. And you're no longer feeling the pain in your legs. It no longer feels uncomfortable. You're in a flow state. We can enter flow states in multiple different ways, but I'm just taking it back to maybe a little inner child reference here. That's what we need to enter into. When you're rollerblading and you enter that flow state, you're still very much aware. You're moving past obstacles on the street or the sidewalk. You can still say hey to people, but you're still in this flow. That is the kind of energy that we need to get into when we're connecting to our intuition. And so right now, this could be slightly confusing. I'm going to break it down even more. Okay. So that's why I lead people through an energetic system of clearing energy, disruptive energy that is not ours and is ours that is not conducive to our connection to our intuition. I do that through a series of commanding energy. So what I teach you how to do is how do you command energy? Meaning I say something, therefore it happens. I don't wait to feel the feeling of it. I trust that it happens through faith, and then I let the feeling follow behind it. Then we move through a system of calling in cosmic and earth energy into the body, expanding outwards, opening the chakra system, anchoring into the heart, and just kind of moving into a state where we're closing our eyes, we're breathing deeply. I tell a lot of clients, I want you to kind of move. I want you to kind of just like move back and forth. Maybe you move your head back and forth. You place your hand on your heart and you're just present in the heart, breathing in the heart and out of the heart. Knowing that what we're really trying to build ourselves into is into a flow state. How's another way we could say this? Maybe like a trance, a semi-trance state, where if you've ever been like on a dance floor, let's take this more to an adult stance. You're on a dance floor and at first it's like awkward. You don't know how to move your hands. What dance moves am I going to do? Eventually, you kind of get over it. Everyone else is dancing around you and you kind of just start flowing and moving in to what is like a semi-trance state, a semi-flow state. People could still come and talk to you and you could hold conversation, but you're still like, you're still dancing, still grooving. That is what we're doing when we're focusing on breathing into the heart. We're moving our body. We're getting into a space where basically we're comforting the body. We're comforting the mental energy that wants to say, are you think you're going to do this right? What if they don't show up? What if you don't get anything? Instead, we make sure that we create the energetic set. Again, the rollerblading for the first 5 to 10 minutes. This is what we're doing. We're getting adjusted, and then we click in. And you'll know when you've clicked in energetically, because one, we're not asking questions in this flow state creation. I'm not sitting down immediately and going, hey, tell me what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. Absolutely not. We're sitting down and we're just breathing. This gets to be fun. Oh, I'm just so grateful to be here with myself and my own energy, knowing that my soul is in my spirit in the universe and whatever words, God, Goddess is showing up for me right now. Let me just be present in my body. The most spiritual thing you can do is just bring presence into the spiritual state, into the physical body. And so a lot like how we would rock a baby, we soothe ourselves. Oh, my mind wants to act up. My mind wants to get the information right away. My mind is afraid, what if you get anything? That's okay. I'm going to rock and move my body and breathe until I feel the resistance of the human experience soften and release. So once we get into that space in the heart, this is where we remind ourselves. And this is what I used to say to myself before sessions when I was really struggling around 2020, 2021, 2022-ish, where I would give these amazing readings, but before I would be sick. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what if this one time I get nothing? Then we would have this great session. The client would be like, oh my gosh, tears and everything. And I would get off and I would go, what if they made everything up? What if they just said that to make me feel good? And then I would go into a conversation with my guides being like, did they make that up? Did I get it right? If you've ever given practice readings, you know what this is. And again, this doesn't need to necessarily be just for people who are in practice. say you get an answer for yourself where you feel like you receive an intuitive answer and you go, God, did I make that up? Do I just want to hear that? This is the same thing. The fear is, if I'm not working hard and or if it feels easy, if it makes sense to me, then it's probably not accurate. That's what the fear is. But in actuality, it shouldn't be hard. It should just be dropped in. It shouldn't be something insanely crazy dropping in. You should have an awareness of what you're intuitively receiving. So I hear people say a lot of times, well, of course I would want to hear that. Of course, I've already been thinking about that. Well, good. Your intuition isn't separate from you. It is you. So it shouldn't be something crazy like I sit down and go, what do I most need to hear today? And they say, Layla, you're supposed to move to Brazil and you need to sell everything and do it today. And this is what's going to lead you to your highest glory. I'm going to tell you that's a red flag. That probably will not happen. That probably happens to some people, but that's not what your intuition should sound like. It should sound like you need to have fun today. Okay, well, I've heard that now for the 20,000th time. Yeah, it's still what you need to hear. Beautiful. That's the thing. When we feel as though we are having to perform our way to receive intuitive information, to perform our way to worthiness, let me be really, really good, and that's going to equal me getting it good. That's where we've lost the plot. That's why spirituality and the spiritual awakening is the uncovering of everything that we have performed our way in our human experience to equaling goodness. Because if you outside of the spiritual awakening, performance and how much you show up and how great and shiny and, all the ways of which we perform are seen as good. That's why even within, if you came from a religious structure growing up, performative goodness is something that was implanted into you. Look a certain way, show up a certain way, be more selfless, be more this, and completely deprive yourself of any sense of connection of love to yourself. It's performative. And so in the same way, and you think about it, if you pray enough, if you ask for God's goodness enough, then maybe he'll heal this. It will cure this. And so why does God help me find my car keys, but he doesn't help the people across the world who are dying and starving? We think that our performance is what equates goodness, but it doesn't. And so it needs to be reversed. We need to just focus on, how do I move into a flow state? Okay, there's no earning my way to this connection. It's already inherent. How can I decide that this experience gets to be something nourishing? I get to just relax. This doesn't need to be another way of which I get to say whether I'm worthy or not, good or not. Do you hear what I'm saying? If you listen to this show, you'll hear that I kind of speak a little bit in like a spiral. I'll keep going into something. That's because this is all unscripted. This is how my mind works. So I just get on here and I share in this way. So you're kind of going through my mental process. Okay, so that's why I kind of hit on things a couple of times in a couple of different ways. So I really want to drive home that if you are afraid that you are going to get it wrong, it is because you are already putting man-made expectation on spiritual laws, and they can't work together. So you might as well give it up. This is where letting go of the control, and this is where I work with most women at, is they're so used to controlling everything. We're used to always monitoring how do we show up in environments? How does this person perceive me? Do I look pretty enough? Am I thin enough? Do I dress enough? Am I being nice enough in my talk? We're used to constantly assessing ourselves and trying to be in like micro control ways. You have to let that go. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And you're going to go, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just making everything up? So what? At first, you're just learning how to enter the flow state. And I can almost promise you that once you let go of control is actually when the true, unfiltered, intuitive advice will come through. But that requires faith, that requires surrender, that requires you to get out of your mind, which is always going, how can I perfect this? And go, how can I just experience this and let it come through? This also plays a little bit into inner child work, because if you remember as a child when you could just act silly and not be worried about how you were being perceived. I mean, once we got to the ages of like 8, 9, 10, 11, we started like becoming aware that maybe sometimes our silliness or goofiness is like, oh, well, my friend kind of looked at me weird. Or, oh, that didn't really go over. That feels uncomfortable. Let me kind of rein myself in of even how I have fun. I remember that as a very vivid experience. And so in the same way, we need to allow ourselves the grace, kind of like with our inner child experience, just going, let me just say whatever I want to flow with and know that it is okay. I don't need to judge it, because what we're not doing, what I am not wanting, as I'm sharing this, as I'm sharing my own learning, my own conversation with you guys, I am wanting to offer you processes, steps that you can apply to your day-to-day life, because I find this important, especially for women, to be able to let go of the structure and control and the rigidity that has consumed your life in micro ways and big ways, and find ways to go deeper and deeper and deeper into your truth, your authenticity, to your flow state, to let soul spirit move through you, unencumbered with what will this look like to other people? Or is this actually the right thing? That in itself is an issue, that we even think that. Can I just flow here? And not immediately go, well, let me give this away to someone else. Let me go do readings for other people. No, these processes are for you to understand you, to heal you, to understand and connect into your own intuition. So the question shouldn't be, what is my next job? The question should be, what is it that I most need to know? Where have I illusioned myself? Where is it that I am not being truthful? Where is it that I'm being uncompassionate, uncurious about myself? Those should be the questions. So when you enter into a flow state with that, there shouldn't be a fear of getting that wrong, because it's you to you. That's why I see also a lot of people who start in, like, moved from maybe Christianity into New Age spirituality and then jump back into Christianity, because they utilized their psychic abilities and they thought, oh, let me read for other people immediately. Let me try to see these attachments. Let me see what's going to happen in this future. Let me tell this girl if she should leave her boyfriend or not. With instead, when we understand our psychic ability to be tools to understand ourselves with greater clarity, with more compassion and more love, we then become more expansive beings that can hold a container of their soul to be more present and aligned. Their intuition will get stronger. Their sense of authenticity and how they show up will be more compassionate and centered in the self. And then they'll be able to read energy. They'll be able to go, okay, I've spent so long channeling for myself. Now I can just put this same system that I've created and imprint it onto someone that I'm reading. And I can receive intuitively the deeper aspects of the message for that person, because you've done it for yourself first. Get out of your head if you're like, I got to be the clearest channel. I got to always be right. I got to get every message. I got to understand what it means. That means that you think that you are the ultimate source. No. And I say that because that's how I used to think. I got to get every answer right. I got to know. No, I'm just the translator for someone else. Meaning, if you come into session with me and I get something, I'm going to go, oh, interesting. I wonder why I'm seeing this. Let me ask, why are you showing it to me that way? It's not, oh, shoot, I got a message. I don't know what this means. I'm scared now. Disconnect. Because now I made it that I was supposed to know everything, which seems like I care a lot. But I more care about how you perceive me than I care about working for you and helping you. You see how we put our own worth into our experience. So instead, I'm working for you, the client. I'm going to be more curious of, I wonder why I got that, so I can keep flowing for you. I can be a mirror, a receptacle, a channel through which I can mirror back your experience and let you receive guidance intuitively. Do you see how that works? When we're afraid of getting it wrong, we will get it wrong. but you don't know how to have faith with yourself. Now, I say that, say you, understand that this is a language that I speak. That's just how I communicate. When I'm saying you, I'm saying me. I always got to say that because someone ultimately says, I don't like the way that you speak, you. That's just how I talk. So, I heard this quote, if you don't like my peaches, don't shake the tree. Like, this is just like how I'm going to keep talking. But you, me, all of us, we have to get over that. How do we get over it? Moving into a flow state. Moving into the heart. Let me just be here. Let me notice how uncomfortable this is. Okay? And you got to practice it. Just like if you're learning how to run. I used to be a runner. Now I'm trying to get back into running, and it's going to take some time. But what has to happen? You have to go through the pain and the awkwardness of everything feeling a little bit off. Eventually, if you keep running and practicing in increments, after a couple of weeks, you're going to start running and you're going to go 5 minutes. You're like, oh, this is so painful. And then all of a sudden, 7-8 minute mark, you hit the runner's high and you're in a flow state. And then every time you start running, you go into a flow state much quicker. Same thing. You're learning a new energetic structure that is against what your nurturance has taught you to be. You are learning how to let go in a world that has told you to clamp down and control. And this is really the message that I'm wanting to get across. And I've said in multiple different ways in multiple different shows that I've had is make this about you. Remind yourself this gets to be fun, even though it's like, this doesn't feel fun. What would fun feel like? What would freedom feel like? Create that energetic structure that can bring in guidance by first doing that for yourself so that you hold the structure internally. Think of it like building blocks, little Lincoln logs. Every single time you focus on, let me breathe and meet my shadow. Let me meet my unconscious. Let me meet my fears. Let me meet where I'm completely lying to myself. Let me meet that with compassion and curiosity. You build another Lincoln log of a structure that can then imprint onto someone else when you go into their field. So you decide to start doing readings. You don't have to go, well, how do I do this? It's already your structure. You know how to read and receive energy that way because energetically you've created that. You see what I'm saying? If this has made you go, okay, I want some more help, that's where you look into mentorship. Spirit Connector sessions is great for like one-off sessions. We can do a lot, but this is really the work I do in mentorship. All information will be down below. Please like, share with someone. Let me know how this episode hit you. And until next time, stop trying to be spiritual.